Our guest speaker this morning founded the Center for Spiritual Living in Simi Valley, California in 1985 and retired from the pulpit in 2008 to focus on writing. He is a keynote speaker, spiritual mentor, and the award-winning author of the book, The Art of Uncertainty, How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love It. The other book, The Art of Being, 101 Ways to Practice Purpose in Your Life. And then his little book, How to Speak the Science of Mind. I have to tell you that every class that I have taught over the past 10, 11 years, I have required the students to read that first little book, How to Speak the Science of Mind. It is absolutely wonderful. I have given it to so many people, and it's just delightful. His various books have been published in Italian, Chinese, Spanish, Swedish, Portuguese, and Portuguese. Dennis is also a columnist for the Huffington Post and a contributor to the Science of Mind magazine. It is my honor and my delight to welcome to the platform Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones.
It's only water, I promise you. I know you're not supposed to have coffee in here, right? So say it with me. My consciousness goes before me. To announce my coming. Take a deep breath. Right here and right now, this morning, you are sitting in a manifestation of consciousness. This is amazing what you have created here. I hope you really, really appreciate the incredible energy and just the quality of this spiritual community, the building that you've got here. It's a really wonderful place. Compared to the place you were in, this has got a much more like welcome home. Your song, pay attention. This is it. Yeah. How are you breathing right now? Good. The talk I want to share with you this morning, the title of the talk is The Art of Uncertainty, but it's really more based on the subtitle of my latest book, How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love It. Now think about this. Life is already the ultimate mystery. Think about this. You came from the ethers of some place far out beyond the physical realm, yes? And your soul found itself into this physical body, which is what? It's a carbon-based, biodegradable, disposable vessel that your soul will jettison at the appropriate time after it has done what it's come here to do. Yes? And then goes back off into the ethers of that which is the unknown. Now, what is more amazing than that? What is more a mystery than that? Not knowing where we really came from and where we're going. But the truth is that the time that we're here, between the time we get here and the time we leave, is no less a mystery. It's just that we pretend it's not until something scary pops up. Yeah? So, is there any place in your life where there is not uncertainty that shows up from time to time? It shows up in our relationships. My goodness, it sure shows up in the economy and what's going on in the world. There's a lot of question marks floating around. Would you agree with that? So really the question is not how do we get rid of uncertainty, because it's part of the human experience. But the question is, how do we get comfortable with it? How can we learn to live with uncertainty in such a way that it becomes our partner rather than our opponent? What if we could do this? What if we could change our perception about uncertainty? Would you be willing to go there this morning? Yes. Okay. What if you could see life as a mystical experience? All of it. Take a deep breath. What is a mystic? Ernest Holmes tells us that a mystic is just someone who lives so fully in the presence of that which is the all, and is guided and led by that infinite intelligence to move forward in life in such a way, in such faith, that he or she is being guided by something greater than themselves, and they know it. Here's the good news and the other news. We're all mystics. Can I have a hallelujah? Hallelujah. Here's the other news. Some of us are optimistics, and some of us are pessimistics. Which are you? Which are you? Well, let's look at it this way. If you're standing on the ledge, which is the theme I use throughout this book, if you're standing on the edge, the ledge of uncertainty, would you rather be having a pessimist or an optimist holding your hand? That's a good question, isn't it? If you're the pessimist would be holding your hand and saying, "Oh my God, oh me, don't look down. Whatever you do, don't look down. If you step forward into the unknown, you could fall. You could lose everything. Just stay where you are, ensconced on this ledge, and you'll be fine," which is the big lie. It's a big lie. Now, the optimist on the other side is saying, look up. Don't look down. Look up. Trust and know that there is something imbued within you that puts you here, that knows how to get you to what is next if you live in its presence and trust it. Yes? You know, we're born optimists. Look at young children. My goodness, there's no more optimistic creatures on the planet than young children. Have you ever had a 2-year-old? They're off exploring everywhere. They don't know about uncertainty. They're truly hardwired to go beyond what they know. They're hardwired to explore, to experience, curiosity, inquisitiveness. And what's curious is the older we get, the more we lose that inquisitiveness, that sense of wonder and wandering in the wonder. And what happens is we get pulled in. We, the parents, teach our children to live inside a box. We reel them in and say, don't color outside the lines. Don't go there. You can get hurt. Just stay right where stay really, really present in this little box that we've got here called security, and you'll be fine. And you know what happens? See if you can relate with this at all. So we begin to live in this box of, we call the known, and we go back and forth in the known, the safety of the box of the known. And we go back and forth. And the longer we stay in the known, what are we doing? We're digging a rut. Huh? And what is a rut? It is a grave with no ends on it. Now, what is it that can lift us up out of the rut? Now, give this some thought. Most of us come to the edge, get out of the rut, to the edge, to lean into uncertainty, and we're motivated by one of two things, either inspiration or desperation. Yes? When we're called to the edge of uncertainty, either we're inspired because we know there's something more for us to do, something more for us to be, something more for us to grow into, or we're pushed by pain, as Michael Beckwith says, because it'd be easier to move forward than to stay in the pain. Yeah? And if we look to nature, you'll really see this inspiration or desperation principle play out. In our home, we live up in the hills, and behind our home, open country, beautiful open countryside. And every year we have a family of sparrows, most years, that come and build a little nest right up underneath the ledge of the patio cover. And one year, this is several years ago, this family of birds came and built their nest, as a family has done for many years. And it's right outside the bay window of our kitchen. So we could stand there and look up 10 feet away and see the whole process of the birds creating this nest. They laid the eggs and tended to the eggs, and that day came when the eggs, or the chicks were hatched, and the day came when it was ready for them to leave the nest because they had to, because they were getting too big. And it was in the morning, and I was so blessed to be standing right at the bay window when that happened. This is a true story. It's actually one of the stories in the book. The first chick got out of the nest and walked up on the ledge, and it's about a 10-foot drop between where the nest was and the concrete. And the first chick comes up, walks up the edge of the ledge, looks down, looks up like this. And I don't speak birdese, but if I could look at, by the look in his face, he was probably thinking something like, "Holy cow, that's a long way down. I could lose everything." But you know what he did? He stood there and he started flapping his wings wildly like this. So violently that he leaned forward, and I think he was doing it on purpose to throw himself off balance. And so ultimately he fell into the call of gravity, and what happened? He flew. Yes? He did one little lap around the patio and went out and landed on an avocado tree branch, chirping away. Pretty soon, the second bird came out and did the same thing, and the third bird came out and did the same thing, and now the fourth chick comes out, and this is true. And he was much smaller than his siblings, but he comes out to the ledge. He does the same thing. He walks back and forth. He's moving these things, these little appendages that he's never used before, doesn't know what they are. He looks over like this. He looks down. He goes this, and he jumps back into the nest, where he stayed for a good 5 or 10 minutes, and his siblings out in the orchard, all sitting on the avocado branch tree, chirping away. I'm sure they were cheering him on. And pretty soon, he jumps back out of the nest, doesn't even stop on the ledge. He just falls into the call of gravity, flaps the little wings, and what happens? He flew. He did bump into a couple walls under the patio. No, it's true, he did. But he made it out to the orchard with the others, where they all sat, all 4 of them out there in the orchard, chirping away for a minute, giving their little birdie high fives. You know, they did it, yeah. This is true. They flew together, one big victory circle around the orchard, and they were off into the ethers to explore their birdness, who it was they came to be. It is a true story. Now, here's the point of the story. Not once did I see the mother bird standing, the parents were nowhere around. I didn't see the mother bird standing there with the baby saying, "Okay, honey, flap your wings, say your positive little affirmations, and everything will be fine." No. Something within the bird knew what to do. Something within the bird knew how to fly. The only thing the bird had to do was its part, which was to come to the edge and fall into the call of gravity, trusting that that thing within it knew how to be what it came here to be. Yeah. There's a great saying, Zen saying, "Move, and the way will open. Move, and the way will open." It doesn't say sit there until the way opens and then move. But we all have this egg box syndrome. We want to know everything's going to be okay before we let go, before we lean into that which is the unknown. Yes? It doesn't work that way. So what I've got is 3 questions that you can use as a litmus test to see how well you're doing at coming to the edge. And these 3 questions, if you're willing to live in them, will help you learn how to live more fully in the mystery of your life and trust that there's something within you that knows how to get you where you need to be if you're willing to do your part. Are you ready? The first question you have to ask yourself is this: what role does fear play in keeping me stuck on the ledge? What role does fear play? How are you breathing right now? Take a nice, deep, intentional, deep breath. And just ask yourself that question. What role does fear play in keeping me stuck in where I am in my life right now? Now, we want to be sure not to demonize fear. Fear is a good thing. I mean, most of us probably wouldn't have made it into adulthood without a little fear as we were growing up, yes? But somewhere along the line, what happened was that the boundaries between what to fear and what not to fear became blurred. You with me? and so we bring in these fears that as we grow, we learn, and the more we grow, the more we learn about fear, and we drag that into adulthood where it doesn't always belong. You know, a baby is only born with 2 fears. You know that? 2 fears. The fear of falling, go figure, and the fear of loud noises. Every other fear we have is acquired. Acquired is another way of saying you learned it. And I would propose to you that what you can learn, you can unlearn if you're conscious. If you're conscious, raise your hand. Have you ever noticed that when you're on the edge or there's something coming up, a change of some sort, that maybe there's some uncertainty involved, that your mind will send out an advanced reconnaissance group on a mission to explore the unknown beyond what you can see, and report back with all kinds of reasons why you should not move forward. There's a great acronym for fear. I think you probably all heard it. False evidence appearing real. I've got another one for you. Forget everything and run. Because isn't that what we do? There's 3 touchstones about fear that I want to share with you real quick, that you can learn how to not only understand your fear, but to use it in a positive way. The first touchstone is this. You can run, but you cannot hide from your fear. And isn't that what we try to do sometimes? Something scary pops up in our life, and what do? We run to the medicine cabinet, or the liquor cabinet, or the refrigerator, or the shopping mall. In all these ways, there's a lot of boats departing down the river of denial on a regular basis, yes? The problem is they have to come back sometime. And when you come back, there's that fear waiting for you, just like a loyal puppy dog, waiting for you. Where can we pick up where we left off? So the first touchstone is understand you can run, but you cannot hide from fear. Why? Because it's not out there. Fear is something that arises from within you because it's stimulated by something out there. So the first touchstone is understand that running from your fear does not do any good. Okay? The second touchstone is to understand that all fear is attached to a concern of death. All fear is attached to a concern of death. Now, it could be a legitimate concern of a fear of death of your body, the death of a loved one, but it could also mean the death of a relationship, the death of a career, the death of a bank account, a social status, a title. All of those great disguises, behind all of them is fear. And in the East, this is the third touchstone. In the East, they give us this idea, a metaphor, of you must stand toe-to-toe with your demons and dance with them. That means to dance with your fear. I do a great guided meditation on this, where I lead you out onto the dance floor, and you see your fear sitting around at the edge of the room. And you walk up to your greatest fear, and you ask it to dance. And you bring it out of the dance floor, and you draw it in close to you. And it's a safe place because you're creating this in your imagination. You draw it out of the dance floor, and you hold that fear close to you, embrace it, and you whisper in its ear, "Oh, teach me, dear teacher. What is it I need to know about you so I can transcend you and move beyond you?" That doesn't mean you're going to go away. It means I understand you to the point I can live beyond you. Take a deep breath. The second question that you can ask yourself to see how well you're doing at coming to the edge of your uncertainties and leaning over at them and with the intention of moving beyond them is ask yourself this question: what do I need to let go of? What do I need to let go of? Now, when you consider this, there's a lot of things that probably everybody in this room brought something to this room that they're holding on to. And sometimes it's obvious what it is we need to let go, and sometimes it's not so obvious, and it lays in the subjective, the subconscious mind. And so here's what you can do. Pay attention to the stories that you tell on a regular basis. You know what I mean by stories? Oftentimes you're talking over and over and over again about something that either has happened to you or may happen to you, and it's a continual story that you tell over and over and over. Oftentimes it's based in the past, oftentimes attached to a person or an event. Sometimes it's attached to the fear of the future. But nonetheless, it's a story that if you really want to know what you're holding on to, ask your friends that you really trust and you feel safe with to tell you, Judy, tell me, what stories do you hear me talking about on a regular basis? And I give you permission to be honest. Of course, you haven't heard my stories, so you don't know, but we all have stories, okay? And you know what? Here's the problem. When we continue to tell our stories over and over and over again, we don't even realize it, but they begin to define us. Our stories begin to define who we are in the world. And when people see us coming, they don't even ask, how you doing? They already know, because they've heard the story over and over and over again. Now here's the third factor about knowing what you need to let go of. It's not always something negative. It's not always something attached to a negative energy. It could be something very positive and affirmative, but if it's continuing to hold you back from moving forward, then you need to look at letting it go. Now, as an example of this, years ago when I had a pulpit ministry, I had a wonderful gentleman come to me in my congregation. This is a long time ago. He was 90 years old at that time. His name was Stan. And Stan came to me, and he was in just great sadness. He came and sat down and said, I just need your help. I was married for 60 years. My beautiful wife died 5 years ago, and I'm just so sad. And I've started to try to date ladies again, and I'm not having much luck with it. I don't have any trouble getting dates, but I can't get them to continue to see me. I need some help with that. I have a lot of miles left. I want to get back in the game. Now, there's an optimist for you at 90 years old. So he invited me to his house for dinner. Again, a true story. And we sat and had dinner, and he began to talk. And as he talked and talked and talked, he talked about one thing: his wife. His beautiful, belated, much loved wife, who was no longer alive. And I began to look around the house, and I saw pictures of her on every wall. Her clothes still hanging in the closets. Yeah. Him still wearing a wedding band. None of these things are bad, but understand at some point. And I explained this to Stan. I said, Stan, what you're doing is you're sending an unspoken message to the women who you're trying to have a relationship with, that you're not really available. You have to learn how to let go of what was, as wonderful as it was, to open yourself to what can be. And he got that. He cried a little, but he got it. And I know he got it. We did some treatment work, and I know he got it because several months later, I ran into him at the grocery store, and he was walking arm in arm with Mildred, his fiancée. True story. So perhaps we've all come in here with something today that we need to let go of. And sometimes, it's not always something in the past. It's maybe the question we have to ask ourselves is, who would I be without this fill in the blank? Who would I be without this relationship? Who would I be without this title? Who would I be without this particular lifestyle? Who would I be? And as we begin to peel away the layers, more and more of who we truly are begins to reveal itself. And then we redefine ourselves from living from the inside out rather than the outside in, which is what my new book, which will be out this next spring, is about. The title is Your Redefining Moments. And that's what it's about. Okay? So in the Tao Te Ching, it's a great saying, and see if you get this. I think you will. I know you will. When I let go of what I am, I become what I can be. When I let go of what I have, I receive what I need. Take a nice deep breath. The third question is this: am I taking time daily to contemplate the miracle and the mystery of the gift that has already been given to me? This is a great, great, great self-inquiry process to understand that allowing uncertainty to keep us stuck is not honoring the giver of the gift. Am I honoring the giver of the gift? And the gift, of course, is what? It's your life itself. You were not put here just to suck air and jam stuff down your pie hole until the day you leave the planet. Your life has to have more purpose and meaning than just existing. You know, life is a breathtaking gift. And it's a pearl of great price. But too often we take it so for granted. And in that taking it for granted, we begin to get stuck in the doingness of life rather than bringing the beingness of who we are to life. Can you relate to that? When we begin to realize that we as soul beings came here on a mission, and that was to explore and to add soul-nurturing, soul-expanding experiences to our lives until the day we leave the planet. Until the day we leave the planet. And self-inquiry is a great process to explore this and to deepen your understanding of why you're here. In the Indian tradition, there's the three miracles. Friend Dwayne Elgin taught me this. 3 miracles that you can use in contemplation to understand what to do. The first miracle is this: the miracle that thing exists. OMG. When's the last time you stood outside at night, looked up at the stars, or stood face to face with a beautiful rose and it's unfolding, and you just found yourself being present in just the mystery of the fact that this infinite intelligence thought itself into being and loved itself so much that it clothed itself as this form called you and I and all that is, so it could know itself and love itself and express itself by means of and through and as that form. Are we honoring that? The second miracle is this: the miracle that living things. Just go, again, stand in your garden. Watch the amazing life force that animates a rose bush and pushes up through that rose bush and unfolds it. It knows what it is without having to be told how to do it. To be just given the right growing conditions. Life, protective environment. It thrives. Go. That living things exist. Try to live in more awareness of that and watch what happens. And the third miracle, of course, is the one things at home. The third miracle is that livings exist that know they exist. That would be you and me. Ability to know yourself. I think Descartes who said, I am, therefore I think? Or I think, therefore I am. He had before the horse. It's actually I think. And the question is, what are you thinking about? When you begin to explore means to push out. You realize that you enter co-creation with the infinite. To know yourself is to begin to consciously co-create with the Creator. Whew. And I'll tell you what, when you begin to do this consciously, this is when you awaken to the realization that every time you look in the mirror, you are looking directly into the face of God, knowing itself, loving itself. Every time you look into the face of a child or your significant other, or for that matter, a stranger at the grocery store, this is the opportunity to look directly into the face of the beloved. And you see, what happens in that process is we dial into purpose. We realize that we're here to be the vessel through which and as which the one loves itself, knows itself, expresses itself, unfolds itself. Look at the universe. It's expanding at the speed of light. There is that within you that is pushing out, needs to know more, to push out, to explore, to express, to be more. And what happens is this: when we live at that level, that depth of self-knowing, and what happens is our B, capital B, merges with our doing. Our being, who we are, spiritual beings, in the physical life, what we're doing. And you know what happens when we bring our conscious presence of the awareness of the presence of God into our doing? uncertainty disappears. Why? Dissolves into the nothingness from which it came, because it's man-made. We created uncertainty. Now, that does not mean the mystery ends, because the mystery is the nature of the universe pushing out to not even where it knows it's going. And it's an eternal process. But when we merge with the mystery, uncertainty is no longer an issue, because we have given ourselves over to the process of being in creation with the One. And it knows how to get us where we need to be. It knows. And in that process, not only does your purpose unfold before you, which is to be the vessel through which and as which God knows itself, but your mission also unfolds. And that's how you bring your purpose into your being, your doing. You bring your being into your doing. That's your mission. Richard Bach, and I'm going to close. Richard Bach summarized it so beautifully. He said, here's a test in the book Illusions. Here's a test to know if your mission on earth is completed. If you're alive, it isn't. Put your hand on your pulse. Are you alive? Give yourself a little test there. Are you alive? Then you've got more to do. But you will not do it just sitting or staying stuck where you are. You were born to be an expansive, expressive being. In order to do that, you have to come to the edge. I close with this. Guillaume Apollinaire, great French mystic, Renaissance man. Come to the edge, he said. They said, no, we're afraid. Come to the edge, he said. They came. He pushed them. They flew. Come to the edge. There's more for you to do and be, or you would not be here. Take a deep breath. Appreciate the gift. Life is a mystery with you, like it or not. Dive into it head first and know you were born to be on purpose. I'm honored to be here this morning with you. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.